Hello, guys. Welcome to another virtual geography lesson. And today we are going to start a series of lessons during which we will be going through different climate zones around the world. And the first thing that we're going to talk about are the forests. As you know, we have the climate zone of tropical rainforest, and this is absolutely one of the things we're going to talk about today. Uh, and we are also going to characterize a little bit the climate and basically all the traits of zone of the forest of temperate zone in which Poland in we are being in Poland. So, guys, to start with, I want to clarify a few phrases. The first thing is broadleaf forest, which basically is made of deciduous trees, so the trees that have leaves. Deciduous trees are the ones that have leaves. So oaks, birches, and the ones that have leaves. We also have mixed forests. So they are made of deciduous and conifer trees. And conifers are the ones that have needles. So firs, pines, so spruces, all that kind of trees. And guys, today we are going to start with analyzing what a tropical rainforest looks like. And guys, to this, I have prepared a climatogram for one of the places that is located basically in the middle of tropical rainforest zone, and this place is Kisangani, which is located in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I want you to open your books on page 113. And guys, you have that climatogram as well presented on that page, but what I want you to take a look at is the map that is right next to the climatogram in the book, and with green, there is marked the extent where tropical rainforests grow, and also the city of Kisangani is marked. So once you're open with this, let's analyze a little bit this climatogram for this city. As you can see, the temperature throughout the year is basically stable. It's in between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. Basically, it's around for the whole year, it's around 26 degrees Celsius. Also, the precipitation is really high, um, up to 240 millimeters. Let me remind you that the annual sum of precipitation for Poland is around 600 millimeters, and here 1 month only serves as 1/3 of the whole Poland's sum of precipitation. So, guys, given those circumstances, the fact that the temperature basically is stable throughout the year, the forest will also be affected and it will be adapted to live in the conditions where the temperature is stable and you have plenty of water. So, guys, first thing that is worth noticing is that there are no seasons throughout the year. So that means that the vegetation, which means the period of time where plants can grow, lasts for the whole year. Uh, so the place is called the rainforest. By why is it called the rainforest? Because of this and basically every single month. Rainforest means that in this forest it's raining absolutely every single day. And actually, there is a specific kind of rain that is present in the rainforest, which is the zenithal rain. Po polsku to są deszcze zenitalne. Why are they called the zenithal? Guys, let me remind you that zenith is basically the place where the sun is the highest above the horizon throughout the day, and it usually happens around the noon, w okolicach południa. So around 12, depending of course on the time zone, but usually between 11 and 1st p.m., the rain will fall because the sun operates, the temperature gets higher, and with this amount of humidity present in the air, this water starts to evaporate and then falls back down onto the forest around the noon. And guys, this forest is of course not a single unified in its whole height. There are so-called layers of tropical rainforest. And guys, you have them of course on page 115 in your book, but let me describe it a little bit wider. So guys, when we take a look at the height of the forest, we will see that the very lowest level that just spreads to 5 meters. 5 meters is around 2 stories in a building. This is the very lowest level that contains shrubs, krzewy, and also basically everything that is laying on the forest floor, which is called the ground cover, runo leśne, and this is a very dark and humid place. Basically, there is no direct sunlight access. The pictures that you see in the book are, well, they are not from the interior of the rainforest because the rainforest is very difficult to get into. The density, the amount of plants that are growing is so insane that it's very difficult to even enter it. The next layer, stretching up to 20 meters, is the layer of trees that are a little bit lower. And one of the examples is, for instance, cocoa tree. And basically, this place house is the home for trees that don't like direct sunlight, that are adapted to living in the shadow. It's also quite dark and also really humid. None of those two levels are windy. The next layer that is directly above is also the layer of trees that are much higher, up to 40 meters. And basically, they create a canopy, czyli korona drzew. Canopy is the layer of crowns of trees that create a closed roof of the forest. What's interesting in this layer is the fact that on those trees other plants are growing, and one of the examples are orchids. The orchids that we have in our homes, as you can see, they don't have roots as many as plants usually have, and basically they aren't growing in the soil, they are growing on a tree bark. This is because they in the wild they live on other trees. The very uh, highest level of this layer is quite sunny, so there is pretty much at the access of direct sunlight, but in the lower parts of this layer it's again really dark and really humid. And basically the tallest layer, stretching up to 70 meters, is the layer of single trees that don't create canopy. So we have one, two, three, four layers that are stretching up to 70 meters. This is actually tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforest is the uh, most diverse ecosystem on Earth. So the most species grow here, and as you can see on the illustration, there is only a small fraction, a fraction of a fraction of species that live in here. And basically, there are some people living in tropical rainforest, and the ones that are worth mentioning are, of course, Indians that live in the Amazon lowland. So this is South America. And also Pygmy people that live in Congo Basin. So this is the area where this climatogram was taken from. Pygmy peoples are famous for being short, the shortest on average in the whole world. Their life is, of course, mostly uh, focused on living in villages spread evenly throughout the rainforest. And they don't live in cities, but they create small communities. Their main, of course, I'm talking about people that live widely. They lead a traditional lifestyle, so that means that they focus on gathering all the fruits that they can find and hunting for animals. Uh, Most of the people living in those areas actually live in villages. So, guys, let's move on to another type of forest, which is the deciduous forest or mixed forest. And let's go back to page 117. And guys, here is the climatogram for a city that is our neighbor, and it's Berlin. Uh, and it's Berlin. So, guys, as you can see, for the first basically pier, the temperature changes dramatically throughout the year. It ranges from minus 3, 4 degrees to 20 degrees. So basically, the amplitude is from here to here is 23 degrees Celsius of amplitude. It changes throughout the year. This means that there are seasons. And we know that in Berlin it's 4 seasons, just like in Poland. Guys, I want you to take a look on the map that is presented on page 117, because in green you have marked the area where you can find the deciduous and mixed forests of temperate zone. Those forests, due to the fact that there are seasons, they will not be active for the whole year. So plants will basically shut down their activity. They will hibernate for winter. So vegetation lasts for a period of a year. The more to the north you move, the shorter the vegetation period it will be. The more to the south you move, I'm talking about northern hemisphere, of course. The more to the south you move, the longer the vegetation period will be, but there is usually a time of pause for the winter. And guys, this forest also has layers, and we have talked a little bit about it in grade 4. Layers of deciduous slash mixed forest. And guys, you have it on page 119. And the very lowest layer, which is basically just a few centimeters, is the layer of litterfall. The litterfall is basically made of all the branches, all the twigs that had fallen down from the trees. Also, the remains of dead leaves, the remains of dead animals. The next layer is a little bit higher, which is the ground cover. It also stretches to 15-20 centimeters above the ground, and it's made mostly of tiny shrubs, also some other plants like berries, mushrooms, And guys, the next layer, stretching up to 5 meters, is the understory, czyli podszczyt. And the understory is made of bigger shrubs, just like uh, just like the ones that grow a little bit bigger, uh, and young trees. So the ones that are not tall enough. All those three layers are quite dark, quite humid, and also not windy. All these three. And the top layer of this, stretching up to 40 meters, is the layer of canopy, czyli warstwa koron drzew. So basically, this is the layer of the trees that create crowns. The very toppest part of the tree is called the crown, and they are so close to each other that basically they are able to block the sunlight access to the bottom of the floor entirely. And this is absolutely typical for the forest. So guys, crowns of trees. And now let's compare them. Here we can see that it has one, two, three, four layers as well. So the mixed or deciduous forest of temperate zone has four layers, just as one, two, three, four, just as tropical rainforest. But guys, tropical rainforest stretches up to 70 meters above the ground, whilst the temperate zone forest is a little bit shorter. As you can see, it stretches to 40 meters only. Also, in tropical rainforest, the vegetation happens throughout the year without any stop. In case of a deciduous or mixed forest of temperate climate zone, uh, then basically it happens for a certain period of the year. And guys, if it comes to the diversity, the mixed or deciduous forests of temperate zone, so these ones, are much less diverse than tropical rainforests. There aren't as many species living, and basically the trees are dominated by a certain type of trees. So let's say a pine forest will consist mostly of pines. There will be no other species, and in some cases, even there will be the lack of those layers. So typical a typical pine forest will consist only of the letterfall, some small ground cover, there will be no understory, and there will be canopy which will not be blocking any direct sunlight, but this is just FYI. And guys, talking about people that live in the areas of temperate climate zone forests, as you can see on a map on page 117, those are North Americans, those are Europeans, and those are Eastern Asians. And as you know, I hope that you know, people in those climate zones, they are focused mostly on living in the cities. So the villages only stay for a much much lower amount of people. So people live mostly in the cities. Uh, and if somebody lives in the rural area, then they basically do it not only for themselves, but to sell it to the inhabitants of the city. Okay, guys, so this is it for today. Please carefully read the instruction and do the assessment in the assessment section. I'm kindly reminding you that not submitting an assessment in time will result in being not present during this lesson. This is it for today. Take care and stay at home.